Hi everyone, my name is Jeff Starr, and this is my channel, Not Bad Films. Today I'm going to be comparing these three Univibe style pedals. I have the Dunlop RotoVibe. This is model JD4S. The Fulltone. This is the Mini DejaVibe 2, MDV-2. And the DryBell VibeMachine, and this is the most current version, version 3. So before I play these, I just want to cut to the chase. If I had to rank them, the Dunlop is the worst. And then for best, there's some pretty reasons you could argue for either one of these. But let me talk about the RotoVibe very quickly. When I got this, I thought, oh, well, it can't be that much different. I know it's not an exact replica of the circuit, but I mean, how much different can it be? And the answer is a lot. There's no sort of throbbing motion to the sound. I think dull and lifeless. This intensity control here on the side is basically on, or is the pedal even on? And there's no like good middle ground. Why even bother? It doesn't go very fast. It doesn't go very slow. It's also not true bypass, which usually I'm not a big stickler for if it has a good buffer, but when this pedal is off, the buffer's not great and you lose a lot of high end, and that's actually why you don't see the three of these connected in series to just compare them, because it was killing so much top end that if I put it at the beginning of the chain, of course it was affecting these, and if I put it at the end of the chain, it was affecting how these sounded too. So I didn't want to bother putting it into a separate loop. Just, you'll hear this, I'll play it off and then on. All right, now the Fulltone. All right, I've had this pedal the longest. There is a version 3 of this pedal, which is a blue enclosure and has a different switch at the heel that you can use to turn it on, which is nice because you can then adjust this to be sort of the speed you want, right? And then use the foot switch to just turn the pedal on. This has something that I have not really heard in other Univibe pedals, which is that there's a three-dimensional quality to the sound, and I kind of really hate saying that because it sounds so, I don't know, stupid, but I don't know how else to describe it. I don't even know if that's going to translate when you listen to the recording of this, but there's some sort of extra frequency crossover and chewy movement to the sound. Maybe I'm just sort of insane. Maybe that's one of the magic things about this, why less people like it. But that's something I get from this that I don't get with the DryBell VibeMachine. Does that make this better? I don't know. Maybe if that's something you really want in a live setting at a gig, like I don't think anyone's going to notice that. There's a gritty, sizzly bit of top end on this. I always sort of wanted to be able to like find a way to tame that. Now, interestingly enough, the VibeMachine has a grit control. There's a mini trim pot here, and you can reduce some of that high end. And when I did so, this became sort of flat and lifeless and lost some of its cut. The most recent version 3 of this pedal does run at 18 volts. I don't know if that helps to smooth out that grit or not, or if it just gives it more headroom, or what it's doing overall. You know, so maybe that's something to be aware of. If you're looking at the version 3, it does take a little different power supply. And then the last real big thing you probably want to know if you're looking to buy a pedal, Fulltone has announced that they're going to close up shop and go out of business. So the DejaVibe, which is one of their signature pedals, I would say, it's going to become harder to find, and it may go way up in price, or it may not. And for a lot of people, myself included, having a Fulltone pedal with a big logo on a pedal board, it became a little bit undesirable after some of the statements that the founder, Mike Fuller, made during the Black Lives Matter protests, and it made me just not want to have the brand on my pedal board. And that's actually what really led me to want to look at some other Univibe options. All right, the DryBell VibeMachine. Of these three, it has the best features, and that's its biggest flaw, I would say. You can very easily get option paralysis. I found that this was the hardest to dial in and just like get the sound I wanted. It has the intensity and speed controls. It also has this toggle here for a bright, original, and custom. And in custom is something that you can control here if you want to change the impedance and the chorus modulation depth. It also has this grit control here and a range and symmetry control. You know, if this enclosure was like that big, right? I would be very happy with that, to have those trim pots accessible on top. The only Univibe style pedal I know of that has all these same sort of controls easily accessible on top is the Roger Mayer VoodooVibe or VoodooVibe Plus, but that pedal is more than twice the cost of this. What I ended up doing to get this to be sort of the sound I really liked is I actually set it up next to the Fulltone, and I dialed in these trim pots in the custom mode here, and of course got the speed where I wanted it and the intensity. It was like, oh, that sounds really great. And that's really when I realized that, oh, now let me dial out some of that grit. And I started to use a little screwdriver and get rid of some of that grit. And I realized that like you kind of needed that in the sound. What's nice though is you can get a little bit more or a little bit less and sort of tailor it to your amp or your guitar. But I found that what I ended up doing is I would dial in a sound and then I would tweak it. And then I would tweak it again. And I'd tweak it again. And I kept adjusting. And I never had sort of that moment where I just kicked it on and I went, oh, this just sounds great. And I don't touch it. And that would be the opposite of the DejaVibe, where I just turn it on and it always sounds good. And I generally don't even tweak the knobs, which is great for playing live because it's really consistent. I would be concerned with the VibeMachine that I'd be playing live and I'd want to change the settings and I have to pull out a little tiny screwdriver. In terms of speed, it goes extremely slow and very fast. It has probably the widest range of any Univibe I've played, almost to the point where in the chorus mode, these slower speeds are so slow that it's not like you don't even hear the effect. It becomes so subtle, even with the intensity up. In the vibrato mode, though, that was really nice. So vibrato, of course, is just the effect, not blended with a clean signal. These very slow speeds allow that sort of pitch modulation to get a little bit more lost. And so if you're running this in a wet dry rig, that'd be really nice. You know, just give you a little subtle movement, something like that. But because the range of control on this is so wide, when you just want to dial in a little small spot, sometimes it's hard to find just what you want. Now you can use a external tap tempo, so maybe that solves it for some people. Okay, so that is this Univibe comparison. Did you think I was wrong about anything? Did you think that maybe you do like the RotoVibe the most? You know, or what? You know, let me know. Please leave a comment. And of course, if you like anything on this channel, check out other videos I have, and there's a Patreon and all that stuff too. Thank you very much for watching. All right, happy practicing.